Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm so happy to have you. So my peers and subscribers, welcome back to the channel. So for today's video, we're going to be talking and discussing the energies and the frequencies revolving around Ukraine 45 JD Vance inside that Oval Office, and then we'll take a quick look and see what are the energies going into Ukraine versus Russia and the world, because 45 is also threatened to initiate World War III. So we are going to take a look at all the energies and see if there's anything to them. I want to send my gratitude and thank you to all you guys who have been engaging, actively liking, commenting, subscribing, and just really being outwardly amazing. I want you to know I love you and I appreciate you. Some of you guys have written that you guys have not been notified when I do post and upload. Do not worry, I do have a Blue Sky account in my Facebook group in the comment section below and in the description. I don't use any hashtags on any of my videos, so it kind of doesn't really get shown to you as much as other videos would, but essentially I don't use any hashtags because if you're meant to see the video, you're meant to see it. So there's that. And I do want to reiterate that I do like smaller crowds. I do enjoy them. I love them because it lets me be a little bit more personal with you, get to really know you. Like I know a lot of great people who've been with me for quite some time, like Doris, for example, Sarah, there's Dennis. There's a whole bunch of great, wonderful, beautiful people that when normally you have a bigger channel, you're not able to really get to know your people and to really know your community. I like a smaller community because it really lets me know who you are and be able to really connect with you on a deeper, intuitive level. So anyway, let's begin. We have a lot to get through today. So this video is being recorded on Monday, March 3rd at 12:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so that is when I am recording this specific video. And then we'll go from there. We'll see what's going on. I got myself a little ottoman so my back doesn't hurt as much. We'll see how it plays out today. But anyway, let's do this. We have a lot to get through today. This video is just for entertainment purposes only and for educational purposes only as well. Alright, so let's do this. Okay, maybe I have to go back. Maybe not. Maybe not. Trying to reorganize myself. Okay, so let's do that. Okay. So spirits and angels, tell me about what is the energy going on within Ukraine and, Volodymyr Zelenskyy, the president of Ukraine, versus 45 and JD Vance in the Oval Office. What's going on there? What's the energy there? I feel like you guys are too close, that's why. What are the energies going on inside the Oval Office? Anything else you'd like to add? Thank you. And anything else? Okay, let's take a look. What's going on with the energies here in the Oval Office? There's a lot of indecision, I can tell you that. That's for sure. Okay, so the first card that we get here is we have the Ace of Wands. And the Ace of Wands is a very interesting card because for me it means and symbolizes that this means a handing of leadership. It's in a reverse position, which means that there is a lack of leadership. There's a lack of cohesiveness. There's a lack of planning, if you will. But it was a sense to assert some sort of dominance or this alpha type energy to only have it be perceived as beta. Right? It's perceived as a beta move. Now, if you guys are not familiar with alpha means someone who's dominant according to the Greek alphabet and the Greek understanding of things. But the beta also means that someone who is submissive to the alpha, so somebody who is submissive to the dominant. So here we have the Ace of Wands, which means there was somebody who was trying to be the alpha who ended up being the beta. Here you have the Hierophant reverse. This is the Oval Office, right? This is the highest office. This is a position with lots of power. It's in a reverse position because there is no power emanating from the Oval Office. This is what it's talking about, saying that the Oval Office is not emanating any power because there is no power within the Oval Office. So how can you wield power when there is no power to begin with? Which means that whatever was going on during this meeting was just nothing more than just artisan, that he actually had no power and no say in the Oval Office. That even though 45 is the president, doesn't mean he had much of a say as one may think, or would like to think. Right? He does not have the power. He does not hold the wand. Right? Even though he's told Volodymyr Zelenskyy, you don't have the cards to do anything, essentially he does. He has the cards. 45, however, does not have the cards. He actually has a lot more to lose from this than Zelenskyy has to. That's the funny thing, is that 45 has a lot to lose, not Zelenskyy. Here you have is we have the Seven of Cups. These are options, plausibilities, and timelines. Depending on what was happening in the news media and the way the media perceived this, will be the way that a lot of Americans will perceive the current administration, which means they will consider the current administration as nothing more than beta. That it wasn't anything more than just that, it was just an embarrassment, if you will. But it also sent an alarm bells ringing across the world in a global stage that is saying here that the United States is not the United States anymore. It's over. It's done. The idea, it's also giving me the news media, this is news outlets, these are people coming together, and there's this alliance that's being formed that not only is Russia a threat, the United States is a threat within itself. That the United States poses a threat to other nations. And that is what they're seeing here. It seems like, to me, that whatever happens in the Oval Office is starting to unification of many countries to be unified. Yes, you're already starting to see that in the, in the news outlet. We're starting to see that all these countries are starting to back Ukraine without the U.S. But what they don't tell you that they themselves, the countries, see the U.S. as nothing more than a threat. The same way that they perceive the Kremlin, that they see Washington, D.C., the new Kremlin, the new capital of Russia, essentially. So a lot of what's going on, the more the deeper meaning, the deeper energies here, again, it's that same energy that countries are starting to be unified, not only against Russia, but also against U.S. aggression. And here you have, in the final card here, which is the Five of Cups, 3 cups fell over. The 3 of Cups fell over, but there are 2 cups remaining and standing. While 45 is looking at this loss, right? There are 2 hopeful cups. There are 2 cups here that are so standing, which means he's going to have 2 more attempts to try and fix whatever it is. So in a way, I would say that the Ukraine meeting with 45 and all that may not come to a short end. It is still going to persist, it appears like. But it appears that 45 is going to initiate his diplomacy skill 2 more times, and then he's done to strike it down. But those 2 times are not going to be very successful at all, if even. But I have a feeling that he's going to keep trying, but he's going to keep failing, which is why the 3 of Cups is here, while the 2 cups are standing. And that is exactly what Volodymyr Zelenskyy is going to come in, and he's going to steal the 2 cups away from 45. So in some way, Ukraine is going to be victorious, because while 45 is paying attention to the cups that are spilled over, he's not paying attention to the cups that are still remaining that's behind him. Which means that Volodymyr Zelenskyy can come in and take it, if he so chooses. And therefore, we have this young male, which is the Page of Swords. It's not going to be through some sort of battle or some sort of fight, but it's going to be, metaphorically speaking, that there is something that the U.S. has to lose from us. That the U.S. loses something because of 45. And here at the bottom of the deck, here we have the Devil. Did not go the way they wanted to. They could not chain him. But that he'd been released. That's the energy they got. But that they cannot chain him because he got released, or because he is released. Which means released from the Devil. And here you have the 9 of Cups underneath that. Seeing the bigger picture, but not paying attention to the cups behind you. That is the whole idea. The idea is that the U.S. actually has a lot to lose from this. And that 45, if he does not get the war to end quickly on Putin's behalf, he himself will be subjected to a great loss. And on the top of the deck here, we have the Wheel of Fortune, in due time. In due time, we have here the King of Swords, so the incumbent, the King of Swords, okay? We have here something becomes fast-paced with the economy. The economy starts to tank pretty quickly with the Knight of Pentacles, and here you have the 5 of Pentacles. What does this mean is that if he does not move quickly on what's going on in Ukraine, people will start punishing him here at home. And he will be punished via the economy. The economy doesn't look like it's going to do so well around this point in time in which this is taking place. So it does feel like to me that this is taking place not only simultaneously now, but also sometimes in the future, that the U.S. is going to start to struggle, and he's going to start to struggle too here in the U.S. And his power and his influence is going to start to deteriorate pretty rapidly, but pretty quickly. Maybe not potentially among his own people, but because the American people, even those who did not go out and vote, that might just be enough to get him out. Alright, so let me just drink some water because I'm thirsty. Alright, so the next question is, now we talked about everything with Ukraine and the meeting with President 45 and what's it called? With the Volodymyr Zelenskyy. Now we're going to talk about and discuss what are the energies going into Ukraine. What is going on in the Ukrainian war versus Vladimir Putin? Conspiracy angels tell me what is happening in the Ukrainian war right now, and what is the likely outcome as of today. With the current energies and most likely plausibility and possibility across all universes, all lifetimes, what is the likely outcome that most matches similarly to an outcome that had already occurred in another timeline? Where is Ukraine heading? Now, because the way I asked the question, it's saying here that that this is timeless. This means it can occur at any point in time. It's going to be based on Ukraine's ability to end it. Okay, who is this? So now they're telling me Russia. Final card. Okay, so these are the two final outcome cards here. So we'll slide them over here. And the bottom of the deck here, we have the Fool. But means casualties still rises, both in Ukraine and Russia. And the top of the deck here, we have the Seven of Swords. It can go many ways, honestly. It can go many ways. It's still not yet determined, but yet it already has a similar path, if you will. Alright, so the first card that we get in for Ukraine, this is the row of Ukraine. This is Ukraine's. Okay? And this is Russia. Okay? These two cards here represent the outcomes of the countries, of the war, if you will. Alright, so the first card that we get here is we have the Chariot. And the Chariot card is very interesting because it's telling me here that moving forward, moving full on ahead. We're heading towards victory. That's what you want. You want that victory. And that's what you're looking for. You're looking for that victory. But among the victory, looking for war, that's morale. This is morale right here. This is the war, morale. We have the Ace of Swords. And the Ace of Swords normally just means defeating the king, defeating the incumbent. Right? You're removing somebody from a position of power. This is reversed. And the reason why this is reversed, even though this is a victory card, this means in this aspect here with the Ace of Swords, it's indicative and indicating to me that even though the Ace of Swords is reversed, that they themselves will not be defeated, that Ukraine will still live on. Like I'm hearing the song Ukraine Lived On, and like I feel like that's gonna be a song that they're gonna be singing in some way. Kind of like that French movie song, Les Morelli, something like that. Kind of reminds me of that, but it's like a coalition because they have a high morale and the Ukraine lived on. That's the whole story. That even if Ukraine dissipates, it won't ever disappear forever. Like it comes back again. Kind of like what happened with the fallen Soviet Union. Here you have the Ace of Cups. There's a lot of blessings, a lot of support, a lot of hope and love for Ukraine. The reason for this is because Europe is nearby. Europe sees if Ukraine falls, it will become a domino effect. If they can show that there's a resistance that's formulated in Ukraine, then they will be able to stop Russia in its tracks. Because if they don't stop Russia in its tracks, US and Russia will team up together and they will steamroll Europe and smush it into a patty. So think about it this way. The US is on the west side, Russia's on the east. If they attack it from Europe from two different opposite ends, you create an open front. Or you create a two-front war. One on the eastern side of Europe and one on the western side, which means that the resources will be divided and Europe will collapse under its own demise. What they're trying to do here is that Ukraine needs the funding. Ukraine is going to get all the funding, all the support it needs because of what has taken place in Europe. That the US is no longer reliable, and therefore Europe is going to step to the plate, and Ukraine is going to receive a lot of funding. Here you have the Knight of Wands reversed, which means that Ukraine is in some way in a soulmate. This feels very similar to World War I, where countries were fighting with trenches, and they barely made an inch forward or an inch back. Like it just feels very stalled. Like it's not moving. It's just very stagnant, if you will. The next card that comes in is the Three of Pentacles. I feel like more than anything, it's not going to end the war, but there will be a sense of truth or some sort of appeasement or something that will be made. It will be initiated by Ukraine to initiate a sense of truth or neutrality in some way, a sense of a pause on the war. Basically, think of it like the way the Koreans did with the North and South Koreans, where they had that appeasement and that pause in the war. Essentially, that the war is still ongoing, but there's no one fighting. That there's that sense of truth, if you will. That could be what I'm seeing here as a plausibility outcome. Now, I'm also getting the energy here as I was saying, if they were telling me to tell you that even if Ukraine doesn't put this forth, Russia may refuse it, or another government or an agency will refuse the offer by Ukraine. So Ukraine will come up with this idea. Ukraine will be the first one to initiate it, but it doesn't mean that the other country will agree to it. So it feels like to me, Ukraine initiates, and then it gets denied. It gets denied in some way. Now, going to Russia, let's take a look at Russia here. Russia, we have the Wheel of Fortune, timing, divine, purpose, right? Divine timing. It's also indicative to me of the past, right? It's indicative of the past. And I can't help but notice that the Egyptian lion with the swords on top, right? But what's behind it, what's being wheeled up in this direction here, like counterclockwise, it's the devil. Which means the devil will be on turn. So the devil, in some way, by the time that this chariot comes in, even though Ukraine has the morale and the support, the devil will be on top. But by the time that we get to the next part here, that Ukraine lived on, you have here is aided by the Five of Cups. And the Five of Cups means that there's going to be three main governments, or three main countries that are going to be against Ukraine. One of them is going to be the United States, one of them is going to be Russia, and there's going to be one more additional help from a foreign country that's going to try to help Russia in some way. But it's not going to work out because the morale of the Ukrainians, Ukraine lived on, is stronger and outweighs the energies of the other three countries combined. Underneath the cup, underneath the Ace of Cups, we have here, you have the King of Cups, which means a chaotic leader in the midst of calm waters, right? So a chaotic leader when there is peace. And this is what it's saying here. There's a chaotic leader who's among the peace, and that he shall come up and he shall shake the ground and create havoc when there is a stillness and peace. So when there's a midst of silence, that is when Ukraine needs to be up and running. Because when there is silence, the enemy is nearby. Just like the same way you go into a forest, right? When they always tell you when you hear nothing in the forest, a predator is nearby. The same exact thing. The King of Cups. The predator is nearby. And that is the Ace of Cups. Right? While Ukraine is celebrating its victory with glory in some way, whatever the celebration is, the predator is nearby. Because while you're celebrating, they're watching in the bushes and they're ready and able to strike. Here you have the Queen of Cups, right? This is somebody who's able to contain something, which tells me that Russia is going to actually take a lot of prisoners of war, which is POW, which is the Queen of Cups. It tells me there's going to be some sort of containment, if you will. There's going to be a containment of people, a group of people who are going to be contained in some capacity in some way. And that is why you have the Knight of Wands, which means something is being solved. Like Ukraine is being stalled, and while they're being stalled, we have the Queen of Cups, the restriction, right? The Queen of Cups is that restriction card, not allowing the energy or the people within the cup to expand beyond its original horizon. That I created an environment that is desirable for me. The environment is desirable to me, not desirable to you. Which tells me that in some way Russia is going to try to restrict Ukraine in some capacity. That they're going to try and restrict it and squeeze them like a snake. And they're going to try and constrict it in some way. And it's going to work because Ukraine is going to be stalled in some way. Because remember, I talked about here that although that, the morale of Ukraine is very strong, we have here, while they're out celebrating something, the predator is nearby, and Ukraine is being stalled, and Russia is essentially restricting in some way, restricting or constrained in something to the point where it can't breathe. And here, the final outcome card here, we have Ukraine putting forth a truce, an idea, and a proposal, right, to end the war, but not essentially end it. The war will still be ongoing, but essentially it will be a truce, a peace. But it will be refused because we have the Queen of Swords, which means they want victory. They want to appear as victorious. They don't want to agree, this nation does not want to agree that this is what they want because they themselves will appear as weak because they accepted the lower facilities of everything. That is why the Queen of Swords is reversed, is that they did not want to admit that they themselves made a mistake and that they themselves didn't come back with anything except a truce. That they came back, killing all these men and women for nothing. And that is what this country is going to use as a formality to reject the truce. The final outcome card here, we have the Hermit card reverse. This means for Ukraine, it enters a period of darkness. Ukraine enters a period of darkness, which is why the Hermit card is here. A period of darkness for Ukraine and Europe. That's the outcome for Ukraine. Followed by Russia's outcome, which is the Eight of Pentacles, which means that even if Ukraine wins in some way, it won't be for long. It won't be for long because remember, they're out celebrating around here. Ukraine lived on, but that is their celebration, if you will. But you never want to celebrate too early because there is a plan in place again. And here's the Eight of Pentacles. So depending on how this plays out and how it goes, it can go many different ways. One of the ways an outcome is that, okay, so Ukraine celebrates, they win the war, blah, 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 that it's over. But Russia is planning, or some other countries planning to take over and reignite what has been lost and what has been lost from them. And again, it's that false celebration. You never celebrate too early, is what they always say. And I always got this energy here on the top of the deck that something was being stolen. Something is being stolen with the Seven of Swords, and there will be a higher fatality here that will be emitted from this. So again, I don't feel like Ukraine is at a victory. So Ukraine could get a victory, but it's going to be fool's gold type victory. Like, don't celebrate too early, if you will, because it's not yet over. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about World War III and 45's claim of it, and then we'll end today's reading. I'm going to try and get a short video out again, but it depends whether or not I could, if I have the time for it. Alright, let's go and see what's going on. If you guys want to help out the channel grow in some capacity, if you like what you see here, you can do so by liking, commenting, just subscribing, hitting the bell icon, or even commenting in the comment section below. It helps the algorithm, helps me, helps you, helps everybody. So it shows you other psychic tarot card readers, my content, and other astrologers as well. Alright, so Spirits and Angels, tell me about World War III. 45 had threatened World War III recently in a failed meeting with Volodymyr Zelenskyy of Ukraine with his Vice President J.D. Vance, or couch lover, if you will. Alright, so Spirit and Angels, tell me, 45 has threatened World War III. What is the outcome for the world within the next 5 years? What is the outcome for the world in the next 5 years? Will there be a World War III in the next 5 years? Let's see the energy. Take all the plausibilities and possibilities. Where are we heading? I'm hearing the word, it will be initiated later than 5. That's what I'm getting. It will be initiated later than 5. Here is the King of Pentacles reverse. Top of the deck here we have smooth, troubled water going to smoother, calmer water now. And here's why, and here's how I know that. Okay, this is my Psychic Tarot card book, okay? This is a book where I listen to meditation music, and I just write down words that I'm getting clairaudiently, and I just write it in permanent ink. So once it's written down, it's permanent. So, the first thing I want to be able to show you guys is my psychic channel messages at 2:16 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on December 31st, 2024. So this is my book. It says here, let's see. World leaders will be submissive to all that can and will be. Kings will fall, not one but by the many. Diplomacy would not be of this earthly plane anymore, but by the many planes of existence. Hate will fill those who lack understanding of the world they live in. The globe will experience a sense of peace for a moment, a breath, if you will, before a coming of age, a future that will define a decade and generation, a war perhaps. This war shall come at a time when we least expect it to. Here's your warning of the X, quote X, the exiled. Many will survive and live to tell the tale of what has become before us, a life of bliss before the kiss. And also says here as well, the economy will shall roar one last time this decade of the century. I'll let you, pause that if you want to read on your own time, but that's essentially what it says here. This was again recorded on December 31st, 2024. And here you have the other one as well. So if you want to pause that and read on your own time. But I'll read you the little extra up on the top. Here, the world you seek will be met with adversity and adversity. Love all that will be, can be, and should be. The world will transform in matters of ick. The truth shall be opened. Happy New Year. May you rest solely, the world will transform. Please be prepared as you yourself will change. So that is the message that I got. It makes a lot of sense. It says here, happiness will plague the world, while others will live in desolate of such plague. Health will be sought by those who want it, and open vast to wisdom and faith. Okay. Now let's go back into the World War III scenario with 45 and what he is trying to do and trying to initiate. We have the Seven of Pentacles. And the Seven of Pentacles is saying that there are things that are leading up to World War III, but this is not going to be one of those things that's going to be the defining thing that pinpoints World War III is happening. It doesn't define it in a way in which we will perceive it to. It's not one of those countries. It's not like Austria and Hungary with the Archduke Ferdinand being assassinated and starting off in the stages for World War I, or Pearl Harbor and U.S. joining the war with Germany. That's not what that means. The Seven of Pentacles, though, is saying that there are going to be things leading up to World War III, but this country alone, Ukraine, is not going to be the initiator of World War III, if you will. But what I did get, though, was that it will come after the year 5, or whatever it is. Whatever that means. Earlier when I said it, I don't know what I said before, but I said something with 5 in it. Whatever that is, it's not going to be within the next 5 years, which means that this will be likely to take place towards the end of 2020s and into early 2030s. That's what I'm getting. And it has to do with the economy. The economy in a lot of countries are unstable, and they are desiring and seeking peace. This book here talks about how we are going to feel a sense of peace for a moment of time. Wait, let me read that back to you just in case we all forgot what it says here. Okay? The globe will experience a sense of peace. For a moment, a breath, if you will, before a coming of age. A future that will define a decade and generation. A war, perhaps. We all know the silent generation has been defined as World War I, right? We had the baby boomers be defined by World War II. The next couple of generations will define World War III. We don't know when that is or when that's going to happen, but essentially it's going to be probably within a little less than 5 years. Or a little bit more than 5 years is what I'm getting. Here we have the Star card. The Star card is that there's equilibrium, but it is imbalance, and there's going to be a sense of revolution. It feels more than anything. A World War III is not going to be a war that is going to be what you would expect. It would be something a little bit drastically different than what we have imagined World War III to be, where people were fighting, multiple countries are fighting multiple fronts. It feels like a war of revolutions. It feels like World War III will be defined by revolution, that although these countries possibly could be an initiation of war with another country, there are revolutions happening within the government and with the one who orchestrated the war. So what I'm saying is essentially, just say Russia declares war on the U.S. Russia will undergo a revolution in the midst of a war, right? It's the one who perpetrates the war, it's the one who's going to undergo revolutions. There's going to be many revolutions that's going to take in many countries. Many countries are going to declare war on each other, but within that government, they are going to be revolutionized by the people. The people did not want that. They rised up and they fight against this aggression. That's the star card here. The star card is the imbalance, the impurity, right? You see how this woman is having more water being poured into the pond, while she's having a very limited amount of water being poured onto the land. And that is significant enough to say that there's an equilibrium and imbalance here. Although the star card is showing balance, it's showing imbalance in this aspect, which tells me that this has to do with the people at home. This has to do with the people at home. They feel imbalanced and they don't want war. They want stability. That's what they thrive on. There will be revolution. They think World War III is going to be thought to be fought with nuclear wars. And it might just be that, but it might be a nuclear blast that won't be exposed in a way in which a weapon will do it. But instead of nuclear blast in the mindset of the people, and the people will resist, and it will be the like of a great blast. That's what I'm getting. Like, it's the great blast. Like, the people rise up and the energy and frequency changes an entire generation almost overnight like that. The same way a nuclear blast can eradicate a city within seconds, instead the thought process of many will just be eradicated and they will wake up. And that is the revolution, the star card. And that is represented here by the Five of Pentacles. And Five of Pentacles means walking away, which tells me that a lot of the countries that go and initiate this is going to walk away either very injured, very hurt, and they're going to have to withdraw, which means that World War III won't be necessarily fought with like nuclear weapons or whatnot. It will be fought with the knowledge of the mind and the resistance of the people within the country in which the war has been taken upon them. And here you have the Queen of Swords, and the Queen of Swords come in through as victorious, the mental. It has to do with the mental aspect. So if World War III was to happen, it would be because of mental instability, mental incapabilities, right? This is a higher consciousness now. This is the Queen of Swords, which means that amidst the clouds and the storm being blown with the trees in the left side corner, you're seeing an emasculation of the knowledge, right? The wisdom. You have the butterfly here. Butterfly is the great change of the mind. And here you have the consciousness, the enlightenment. The enlightenment is healing. When there comes to a great consciousness of the mind, there shall come a time of healing, which is why it's represented by the Temperance card, which means balance, which means you see that little circle on the top. That reminds me of the little thing that doctors used to wear when they used to look at it, a little reflective thing. That's what that is telling me here, that this is a healing energy, this is a doctor energy, this is a triangle. The triangle is a very beautiful card and a very beautiful shape, because when you have a triangle, energy is being pinpointed. You're directing where the energy goes, right? And triangular can be very important in some way. And there will be a triangle, so there's going to be 3 countries that's going to go into war. There are 3 initiators, and in those 3 initiators, within that triangle, there's going to be something that's going to happen within the triangle, whatever this is. And here you have the Temperance, and the Temperance is that healing. There is a healing consciousness. The brain has been healed, and the equilibrium between the 2 cups is balance, compared to the Star card, which is imbalance. See, 2 different. One is being given equilibriums. This is not given equilibrium. So, what is going on in terms of the war in World War III with plausibility and possibility is that it will not be a revolution the way in which you would perceive a war like World War II to be initiated. It will be a revolution for the people. There will be multiple wars happening from within. And many people will survive it, because it's not going to be a literal war. It could not even be a literal war, but it could be known as World War III, because massive changes were taking place, the like to which we last saw with the baby boomers and the people who fought in that war. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, it's gonna be really interesting to see what happened. That's what I'm getting for World War III. Alright guys, I love you. Hope you guys resonate with the energy today. You guys let me know in the comments below whether you agree or disagree. I'm really curious to see what all you have in mind. I thank you, I love you, and thank you for all your appreciation and support. I love you. And for those of you guys who have emailed, I have not emailed you guys yet. I've been working continuously, so I've been taking some time to rest off when I do, but essentially expect a response soon when the time is right. Until then, I love you. Have a great night. I'll see you guys all soon. Peace out.